Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm really happy you clicked on today's video. Today's video is an exciting one. It is a long overdue video that I've been wanting to share with you guys. I did started a more of a minimal lifestyle at the beginning of the year. This is a journey that I've been working on, and the kitchen was the first one that I wanted to tackle. It was one of the biggest problems around my home, especially my obsession with collecting mugs. I have a big obsession with mugs to the point where I had decorative ones, plain ones, and I literally designated one cabinet specifically just for decorative mugs. And honestly, I really don't need all those mugs. I hardly used any of the mugs that I do have, and since I have a lot of decorative ones for like the seasonal, I usually put them down only when it's the time for like Halloween, fall, Christmas. And so that's what we're gonna do. So if you want to get a lot of motivation with me, or maybe get inspired for you to start your journey on minimal lifestyles, stay with me, subscribe to the channel, and let's just continue with all this decluttering around my kitchen.
You don't know how much I want you. Just looking at you makes my whole world spin. You don't have to wake up yet.
The easiest way that I found to start decluttering my kitchen, it was going through sections. Since this is the hardest part for me to get rid of, this is where I wanted to focus my energy first. I did put a lot of mugs into the section where I was going to keep, and then I put them down, and so I kept going back and forth. I did put them in sections for like the Halloween ones, and then I have a few for like Valentine's and Easter, and just random ones with quotes. The Halloweens are like my favorite ones. I did stay with a few, but then I got rid of a few, and then these ones are from like the fall. I don't keep a lot, but my favorite one is this owl one. I do have a tattoo on my hand with an owl, so it is really my favorite one. And then again, all of these ones that have regular quotes and Easter and Valentine's. I don't have a lot of those, but I do at least have a one for each. And then I have the section one with the ones that they have been given to me that are gifts, my kids, my friends, my sister-in-law. So these ones were a little bit more hard for me to get rid of because they were more of the sentimental in a way. And then from there, my favorite ones, which it's Christmas, I really had so much hard time getting rid of a lot of the mugs that I had, because I did had a lot of Christmas ones. And trust me, I know that I said that I am going minimal and I am trying really hard, but like I said at the beginning, this is really, really new to me, and I still have a lot of things to learn. But for Christmas, I really enjoy my mugs, and I do love to switch them from everyday use. These are the ones that I started getting rid of, and you guys can see that it is more than half of the mugs that I had at the beginning. And you will see at the end that I didn't stay with all of the ones that I put on the side. I kept on moving and moving more mugs, but at least I did the good move because I did got rid of a lot of mugs. Then from there, we switched to this area, which is all of like my baking items, cookie cutters, and I really wanted to switch them from here. I did had a lot of cookie cutters that I didn't even use, a lot of sprinkles that I really didn't use. I will be transferring all of my baking items into the pantry, and so my idea is to bring all of my mugs into this cabinet. These cabinets are a little slightly smaller than where I had them before. They're not too deep and they are really small, And so my idea is to try to fit all of the mugs that I want to stay with and only keep the ones that I'm actually going to use. So if they don't fit, I'm not going to keep them. And you will see throughout the process that I did move them a couple of times until I was happy with them. And since I do have at least 3 sets of tableware, all of those sets have mugs as well, and you will see that I was having so much trouble of letting them go, but at the end I end up staying with only 2 sets of tableware. We are a family of 6, and sometimes we do have family coming over. Even when we do get-togethers, we end up getting like disposable paper plates and all of that. So I really don't need a lot of tableware. At least in my idea, it's to try to keep as minimal as I can. After going through 2 sides of the kitchen, or at least 2 sets of cabinets, I end up with a lot of trash. All of those are vitamins, and so far all of these items are the ones that I'm gonna give away. I did give them away to my sister, as well as all of these sprinkles. I'm not using any of this, and my sister really loves to bake as well, and all of the cookie cutters are going to be in handy for her. I did took all of the sprinkles from these jars and put them on Ziploc bags because I know that I do want to keep this jars for all of my spices. And then you can see in here that I end up moving my mugs to the other cabinet, and all of the baking items I end up putting them in the pantry. If you haven't seen the earliest pantry organization, I did move all of these items to the other side, and it's a little bit different now. But at the beginning of the year, I did organize my pantry, and this is how I had it at the beginning. I end up staying with a few cookie cutters, or at least the ones I used, and only the items that I am using are the ones that I kept with me. I do love to bake as well, but it's not like I do it as an everyday thing. It's more of when like the holidays hit here, or when it's a little bit more on the winter and autumn. And now we're gonna move on into the spice cabinet. I did had a lot of spices that were expired. It was like a wake-up call for me when I started decluttering my entire kitchen, because I knew that I wasn't taking advantage of all of the spices, and I was really upset at myself because I did end up throwing a lot of spices that I was able to use. And just because I had so many things, I didn't even know I had a lot of spices because of that reason, because of how much clutter I had in the kitchen, all of like my bowls, plates. And you can see in here that I did kept 2 tableware, but then later I figured that I really didn't need that many. So that's when I started bringing everything down. Even my kids were surprised at me, because I do consider myself a hoarder. Even though I started this new lifestyle at the beginning of the year, I'm going to repeat it again, and I don't even know how many times I will repeat this. This is something that I have to learn. This is one thing that it is not easy at all. It haven't been easy at all. The kitchen, I feel like it was a 50% easy, but then when it went into my closet, it was a little bit more hard. But now I am feeling more happier, more lightweight, even though it's kitchen items. Trust me, even the cleaning has been improving for me. Right now, not so much, since we are still under renovations around my house, but I know that every time I have to cook, I know what I have. I know the spices I have. I only kept little jars, as you can see in here. These are the jars that I stay with, and all of these spices were the ones that were expired. I had to throw away all of them, and then I did had a few that I give away to my sister, because I did kept with the ones that had the sprinkles, and then this circle one, which it was really, really nice that I kept it with me, because at the beginning I was going to give it away, but then I figured that I really needed some spice racks, and these were nice for now. I know that eventually later I will probably replace them, but I'm not gonna buy another one and then keep this one. This is something that I am learning, that if I buy something because I really like it or because I really want it in my life, I know that I have to keep or take out one item. So one comes in, one has to go.
I can't let you go, baby. I just want to tell you that. No, 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 no. Yeah. All of my friends say, girl, you better take care, 'cause that man is trouble, you best beware. And though deep down I know I might be headed for teardrops, now that you got me started, I just can't stop. No, no, 'cause I love you, baby. I can't let you go, baby. I gotta tell you that I've been looking for love so true.
And after going through the entire kitchen, through all of the cabinets and all of the drawers, these are the items that I am taking out of my kitchen. It's literally 80% of my entire kitchen. I end up giving it all to my sister. I know that she's probably not going to keep all, but she can probably find someone else to give it to. I didn't want it to stay with any in the house and me giving it to someone else, because I knew that if I had it in my house, I would probably end up taking it back into the kitchen. So that's why I was like, you know what, I'm just going to give it to my sister and she can give it to someone else that might need something out from here. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a walkthrough of all the cabinets and drawers of how I kept them. The first drawer, I kept all of like my LED lights and then the napkins for an everyday use, and then the other one had the candles. This was the only one that I kept all of like the party supplies. The same goes for this one. I kept all of the bigger items for like the chips and all of like the dips. This is more of like party items, if you want to call it that way, because I know that I do use it sometimes. This one right here, it's empty, even though I do have a few items in here. These ones are more of like the decorative, but because I am trying to go minimal, I want to keep everything in here until I am ready to decorate again. Then I will pull it down. This one stayed empty. Like, I'm really surprised that of how many cabinets and drawers were empty. This one up here from the fridge, it's also empty. No one can reach up there. And at the beginning, I end up having all of the party supplies in here, but then I will end up buying more because I can't even reach up there, not even with the ladder or the little stool. And here I kept minimal, the same with like the silverware. I only kept one of each. The knives, it's a little bit of a different story because I do need a few knives, but for the rest, I only kept the items that I usually use on an everyday basis, like the lemon squeezer, the can opener. This side over here, it's only the silverware, but it is minimal. I only had two cutting boards, and then on here I kept all of like my husband's grilling utensils and gloves, and I did got rid of a few sets as well. I only kept the ones that he usually used. Right now, since it's extremely hot, he's not using any, but he had 2 sets of the utensils. And then on this side, I went extremely minimal with like the coffee cups and the straws. I do like to drink my hot drinks or even cold water with straws. My teeth are getting too sensitive, and that's why I kept those. But you guys can see that I did organize them in containers that I actually bought at the dollar store. The same with the measuring cups. I only kept one set, and then the newer set that I bought last year for Christmas time, I had to have some sort of Christmas things. And then on the other side, I kept all of like my baking items, a little bit of everything, because I do love to bake and I don't want to get rid of the things that I know eventually I'm going to need. So I try to keep as minimal as possible. Here in the cups, you guys saw that I only kept 6 cups, 6 glass ones. We are a family of 6 and all I needed was 6. And then on this side, I kept my electrical blenders and my vitamins. I kept them in here. The only things that I didn't went through, or at least I got rid of any, were these glass ones. I love to do a lot of entertainment when it's the holidays. I love to set the table nice, and I know that I'm gonna need all of those glasses. For this size, since I started prepping at the beginning of the year, I invest in mason jars and I kept it on that side, and I moved all of my containers up here near the stove. I am changing my style of prepping, but I still needed all of those containers up near the stove. On this side, I only end up with 2 tableware sets, and they are white. You guys can see that my mugs went from a big collection to a minimal. Eventually, we'll probably try to get rid of more. And then on the other one, I kept all of my spices. Down here, it's extremely minimal as well. I kept one side for the lunch items, the lunch bag, and then I kept the little container jars on the top. And then on this side, this eventually it's going to be by itself. I put random things in there. The box contains all of like the written recipes. Moving on to the cabinets on the island, I kept one with all of my baking sheets and then the other one with my mixing bowls. You guys can see that I kept them extremely minimal. I am only trying to stay with the items that I use on a daily basis. And on this side, I kept a few items that we use for grilling. And the way I set up all of the things, I put them near the areas where I use them the most. On this one, I kept like extra mixing bowls and extra things to cut the vegetables. And then I did end up with a few cabinets that were empty. And for the pots, I kept them near the stove, and you can still see that I only kept a few. This entire process have been such a really good experience for me. I am enjoying all of this minimal lifestyle. There's still a lot of things that I have to learn, but this is a process, and this was the first step, and I feel like I am doing great. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe. Also, give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
I just wanna see the light.